Hello there. How are you doing? If I understand correctly, you are one of the individuals looking to join our faction. Is that right? Okay. Well, I have here a questionnaire which will be one of the determining factors as to whether or not you get accepted into our faction. Think of this as a personality test or an interview, if you will. I have a little over 20 questions here, and all you have to do is provide me your best response. There are no right or wrong answers. Okay? Don't worry. I'm sure you'll do great. They barely even check this stuff. Unless there's some kind of red flags, you know. Anyway, let's go ahead and start the questionnaire. First, would you like a beverage or any other type of refreshment before we get started? No. Also, no, that was not one of the questions on the questionnaire. Okay. And are you comfortable? Yes. Okay. I must also ask before we continue, are you currently under the influence of any substances such as drugs or alcohol? Okay. Let's go ahead and begin. First, may I have your name, please? How do you spell that? Okay. Next question. What is your favorite color? Next question. What is your favorite food to eat? Okay. I actually do like that as well. It's not my favorite. My favorite is chicken wings. Though, admittedly, they are rare nowadays. Next question. Were you born before or after the Great Fall? And if you are not sure what the Great Fall is, it is when the apocalypse had started. It is sometimes known as the Great War. Okay. Next question. How much, if any, radiation were you exposed to? Did you get that checked out? Yeah, okay. Have you ever lived underground? And if not, would you be willing to? Okay. Now we're gonna venture into some more in-depth questions. First, what's your greatest accomplishment? Really? It's impressive. And when was that? Okay. Now, to kind of counter that, what would you say is your greatest failure? Mm-hmm. And when was that? Got it. Now, this question has been emphasized by management as a very, very important question. Have you or anyone in your family ever had dealings with any of these following factions? the mountain root clan. Right, the mountain roots. Some may call them rooters or mountaineers, depending on where you're from. Okay. The ill shadow. Ill shadow. Ill shadow. Oh, they are an assassin slash thieves guild that mostly operate underground, though they do have some presence on the surface. Okay. The Knights of Nature. You've heard of them. Mm-hmm. Right, right. Okay. How about the Metal Birds? They're a faction that fancies themselves as being, I guess you would call them androids, part human, part machine, and they worship flying devices or creatures such as old world planes and some of the new megafauna that exists on the surface primarily. Right, yes. Such as the fire wing. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. You've known one before? Mm. Just somebody who wanted to be one. Gotcha. And the last faction we need to know about. Have you had any type of dealings with the entrenched? The entrenched. Entrenched. They are a faction who believes in an eldritch god, a deity that stalks the depths of the surface oceans and seas, and also some of the underground bodies of water, such as the canyon lakes and some of the unnamed seas that have been lightly explored underground as well. Okay. Next question. How would your friends describe you? Mm-hmm. You think so? There we go. Now, the opposite of that question is, how do you think your enemies would describe you? If, of course, you have any enemies. Oh, okay. You hope so? Yeah. I would hope that they would think that of me as well. Next question. What is your opinion of the deep ones and eldritch gods? If, of course, you even believe in such things actually existing. Okay. Can you repeat that part for me? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. The next question is, and just to preface this, these following two questions are what if scenarios. Okay. If you found yourself in a broken down old world tank, like an army tank, surrounded by hundreds, if not thousands, of flesh-eating zombies, what would you do? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Really? It is a tough one. Yeah. Nobody would ever want to be in that situation. But that is an interesting idea. I've actually never heard that one before, believe it or not. Okay. Now, the second what if question. What if you were a zombie with a somewhat functioning mind, and you were ravenously hungry and needed to consume human flesh, not only to satisfy that irresistible hunger, but also to continue living, if you would call it that. And the only human around was hiding inside of an broken down old world army tank, and you were in a crowd of hundreds, if not thousands, of fellow ravenous zombies. What would you do? Mm. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Oops. Made an error. Yeah, over here too. There we go. That would take quite some effort, but I do think you would end up getting that human. Next question. What 3 adjectives describe you the best? Mm-hmm. Okay. How do you spell that one again? Thank you. Spelling was never my best subject. Only times tables were. What's that? Times tables isn't a subject. Oh. Well, it was the one I was still best at. Now, what superpower would you have, and why? So if you could obtain any type of superpower, which one would it be? Okay. And why do you think you would choose that one? Okay. That's I don't think I've heard of that power being said before. That is a good one, though. take a moment to smooth out my paper here. I'm just gonna clean up a few of these edges. There we go. Thank you for your patience. What do we have next? Yes. Right here. If you were offered, would you be willing to participate in a human genetic modification testing? Well, I don't know the details exactly myself. That would be for some of our scientific experts to explain to you. Yeah, they can give you the different particulars. But does it at least sound like something you might be interested in? Okay. I'll mark it down then as a maybe. Okay. If you are accepted into our faction and placed in one of our communities, what type of job or role, if you will, would you most likely be providing? Yeah, more or less. Basically, what type of skill sets do you possess? Okay. Right. How long did you do that for? Oh. Right. That sounds like fun. You're doing great so far. Yeah. I can tell you from experience that so far you're really nailing this questionnaire better than most. Honestly. Try not to overthink it, And in my opinion, if you keep this up, you'll definitely be accepted into our faction. Yeah. But we still have some more questions to go first. Okay. So, where were we? Yes. Now, this is one of those, well, I'll just say, the faction has emphasized this next question as, how can I say it, being a hypothetical. So just keep that in mind. If you're stationed in one of our underground settlements, and the settlement you're in is hypothetically attacked by a swarm of gravel spitters. Gravel spitters. Would you be willing to risk your life fighting for the settlement? Oh, you never heard of a gravel spitter before? They are a giant centipede. Think of a centipede that's around 10 to 15 feet in length and have a thick, somewhat bulletproof exterior. Yeah, they have very strong chitin around their bodies. And they naturally burrow through rock and earth. And during that process, the earth that they gather in their mouths at times, they break down into a gooey, slime-like substance that they can effectively shoot out in various forms. Some are built different than others. And these globs of molten earth will actually cling onto you like a napalm would. And they actually can melt through different forms of armor if it's not purposely crafted to resist that type of damage or an attack of an acidic nature. Yeah. Vicious stuff. But again, the faction has emphasized this as merely a hypothetical. I can't disclose that, unfortunately. I can't confirm nor deny if it's ever actually happened before. I'm sure you understand. But would you be willing to lay down your life, if need be, for the faction? Okay. Yeah, that won't be a problem to note down. So you may have some aversion to fighting rock spitters, or gravel spitters rather. Okay. Next question. When you're in a bad mood, what helps you feel better? I know, an easy one after all those kind of weird ones, right? Yeah. Okay. Right. Good to know. Mm-hmm. There we go. All right, moving on. Do you think the journey or the destination is most important? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could look at it like that. It's definitely one of those philosophical questions. Yeah. So for you, is it more the journey or the destination? Okay. There we go. Next question. Who is your favorite author, if you have one? Okay. I never read that. What's that one about? Nice. Sounds interesting. There we go. Looks good. What are some of your favorite hobbies? Again, if you have any. Wow. Nice. Oh, sorry. I got caught up in reading through your questions so far. All this? I don't know, actually. It's just something I do sometimes when I'm reading through something. Maybe it's a nervous tick, but I'm not nervous. Or just boredom. You know, kind of like when people shake their leg when they're sitting. Yeah, the worst is when you're at like a dinner and you have a family member or someone sitting near you and their leg is going like a mile a minute, or several miles a minute, I guess the expression would be. Yeah. Next question. Are you okay with routine inspections of your personal property? Not so sure. Understandable. And a follow-up to that question based on your response. Are you okay with random inspections of your personal property? Gotcha. We're almost done, I promise. This one is a little dark. Have you ever killed anyone or anything that would be considered wrongful, or at least need to be justified? It is a question that can certainly vary, yes. Really? Okay. No judgments here. This is a, how would you say it? A judgment-free zone. There we are. And the final question. If you had to rate this questionnaire on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being greatly dissatisfied and 10 being greatly satisfied, which would you rate it? Which number in that range? And just to remind you, your answer is also a reflection on me as a questionnaire asker, if that makes sense as well. A questionnaire, I suppose. All right. Sure. You're positive. Okay. All right. You want me to write down how you felt about that one question? Okay. No problem. Let me make a note up here too. There we are. Well, thank you again so much for participating in this questionnaire. I have all the information that I need to go ahead and submit to my manager. And I'm sure you'll hear from someone at the company within the next few days or possibly week about the decision based on how you answered these questions and if they're going to move forward with the faction application process. Well, again, it was a pleasure meeting you, and I hope that you have yourself a fantastic day out there. Of course, take care and be safe. Watch out for those gravel spitters.